The organizations as they exist, as they have been consolidated, they are at an end. I think we have time for another 2 questions, you say? Yeah. There's one here and there's one here also at the table. I don't know where the microphone is. Ah, there you are. So can we do one here and then one here? Yeah.
Okay, thank you. In your scenario that you described, and it is very, very inspirational, thank you very much. What do you think is the role of the trust? How this affect the use of technology, new technology, and how this affect the new behaviors of the organizations, the operational model of the organization, in designing that business model, intercultural considerations related with the trust. And at the end, the different rule of the contract, the barrier, the protections that we already use, and they are going to disappear following your view, how they can change it by a higher level rule of the trust.
Good. You know, the first consulting contract we had as a business was 23 years ago to a bank. And we knew that we needed to do a proposal. They were getting proposals from other big companies. It meant monitoring and running all of their maintenance operations, hundreds over Brazil. It was a big contract. And so they gave all the terms, as so many customers do, because they said, I already understood this consulting thing. I'm going to issue a bid with all the service level agreements and I know everything. And that's how they produce a bid. So we went to participate in this bid. And so it was a 2-year period. We need to do this with this thing, and they needed to see the profitability of this, and you have to put all the service level agreements and so forth. So we went into the bid, and we said, nah, we don't want to do it this way. We'll take care of this for you. We're demonstrating that we can and we know how. And let's do it like this. You have a 30-day clause with no penalty to fire us anytime you want. And then I don't want to read all this other stuff you gave, okay? So if you don't like us, let us know 30 days. We're going to put in 300 people. We're going to run this thing. We're going to do everything. All the investment is ours. And you give me 30-day notice with no penalty. And that was easy for them to accept. And I said, this is called trust. And I called just the other day, and the contract is in the 23rd year now, with the 30-day notice. So I think that the trust issue is one where you say to your employees, I'm not going to follow you, I'm not going to look after you, I'm not going to monitor you. When you think that in 1908, Henry Ford put that line together and Taylor was there to say, let's measure all the metrics, all the movements, let's make sure, let's see if they're going to the bathroom, how much time they're spending. And we said, boy, isn't that become ridiculous? That sounds like Charlie Chaplin. Nowadays, most of the software that is growing quickly in the big companies does exactly the same thing. It monitors how much time your employees are spending on social networks. It monitors how much time they're working at home, where your computer has been. They read your personal email. This is much worse than George Orwell ever imagined, right? And so we've created a world where now we're trying to make everything digital metrics. And we say with the GPS, I know where you've been every minute of the day. Now I know you spent 11 minutes in the bathroom. Is that a crazy piece of information which was there for Taylor in 1908 is now here again? And it's going to come out in reports for you all the time. So the fact is that trust has gone away completely with privacy, along with privacy. And trust is no longer there. So the only way to regain trust, I think, which is a fundamental aspect, is to say, fire me anytime you want. Don't give me guarantees. And turn to your employees and say, I'm not going to mistrust you. I'm not going to read your emails. I don't care how long you spend on social this. I don't care that you went to see your this, pick up your kid at school. Have your life. I trust you. You trust me. Let's hope this guy's going to trust us. If this guy doesn't trust us after all, I'm not sure I want him as a customer. And that's a very difficult decision, but it's much wiser. I'm not sure I want you because you're going to make my life hell. I don't want hell. Our life is very short. You know, there's no place for customers who are bastards and who have SLAs and we're going to kill you and we're going to make you, and they don't last either. You go back there 7 months later and say, where's the Mr. Smith? Oh, here we fired him. Right? So the fact is that building trust as an assumption that you're going to jump on that trust with your people, with your customers, and hope for the best is wise. The chances are very good you'll be okay. Now, you're going to be 3 times bigger, 2 times, who cares? You have to find what it is that it takes for you. The system that Fernanda has in the hotel is that everyone makes average market salary. And then they get 12.5% over the hotel revenue. That's a hell of a lot. They all make 2-3 times more than they would somewhere else. When the hotel gets to the point where it really makes money, a lot of it is going back to those guys. When it does badly, they stop the loss because they only make market value. And so in the end, for everybody, the 39 people, the owners, the investors, there's enough there for everybody. And it's wise. No one's making a killing. If somebody's making a killing, it's going to be out of whack, and trust is going to go away. There's no situation in which somebody's making a killing and the trust of the other party didn't go away. And so making this decision and throwing all of your effort into trust and saying, I'm going to give up all my controls of the people who work for me. Just tell me, look me in the eyes, and say, you will do this. I need it by the 18th. No, I can't, but I'll give it to you by the 27th. And you're looking and say, 27th. And you're going to get it on the 27th, for sure. Now, to get it on the 18th, Jesus Christ, what you have to do. You have to threaten people. You have to move it. You have to tell them there's a lot of people out there looking for jobs, and there's someone else. This is an enormous mistrust that you're creating indirectly, even if you do it very naively, which you do unconsciously, but you're doing it all the time. Just pull out those stops completely and say, it doesn't matter. Don't tell me that you're working hard, not working, doing that. That's of no interest to me. Let's say that I have your back, you have my back. Let's see what we can do together. And the same thing with the customer. I think that there's a lot more, and there will be an increasing amount of people willing to do that in the world. And I think that that's changed dramatically. I think we're out of time, right? You're making, you're giving me a compliance look. One last question here. Yeah, yeah, good job. Yeah.
Thank you. My name is Maurice, and when you were 21 years old, your father and you had different views on how to continue Semler Company, so he stepped back. You said your son is 16 years old, and let's say in 5 years you have different views on how the Semler philosophy should be.
That's why he doesn't know what I do.
Okay. What would be the biggest change in the next generation Semler philosophy?
I think one of them is that I don't think that this generation, at least the kids that I see there, I don't think they understand, one, why are you working so hard? I don't think that one's clear to them. There's a lot of surf out there, there's nice skates, the weather's good. Why are you doing this? I don't think it's clear. And I think in that sense, we are getting smarter as we go along, because our grandparents found it normal to have 8-year-olds working for 14 hours in the plant, right? Any of our grandparents thought it was normal for you not to have either Saturday or Sunday off. Any of our grandparents lived through this, right? There was no Saturday and Sunday. So as we evolve and as we become more robotized, when you see Foxconn in China buying 910,000 robots, that's a lot of robots. 910,000 robots for one company can be considered a lot of robots. So the fact is that something is happening very quickly which says this. What we're doing when we take the amount of time we have left and the kind of things that we have in front of us, we're not clear, and we should have already been clear, like that the car is not going to have a driver or someone looking to the front, or that the airports don't need to be this humongous mess that they are, etc. Anyone, a 16-year-old kid today, or we have a 5-year-old, for example, the idea that you say to him, so what do you want to be when you grow up? What kind of a career you want? That's a stupid question. It was never very intelligent, but now it's especially stupid. Because When you look at the average age that they will be, just based on medicine that's currently available and just expensive, but that will be available, they have time to finish high school, go to university as a lawyer, spend 20 years as a lawyer, go back to university in architecture, spend 20 years as an architect, go back, do med school for 6 years, be a doctor for 20 years, and have 10 years of retirement left. Are any of our kids being told that or prepared for that? Because this is going to be their world for sure, already from what is already known. So we are just living in a delusion of thinking that this world that Henry Ford invented for us is what we have to operate, that we have to help consult with, we have to help with, et cetera, et cetera. It's not true. There's a world out there still which has to do with what is the quality of life we want. We walk out that door and suddenly something hits us and we're sitting in a hospital with a heart attack, rethinking our whole life, or suddenly we're 45 and we need to buy a convertible Porsche and find 2 women of 21. So there's something here that says that the process we've gone through, we should have learned already. It's not intelligence by any means. So to look for a wise world out there, it has to do with, why the heck am I really doing this? Is this the only thing? If I give up some other things, won't I get some more wise things back instead? I think some of the kids are starting to ask these questions much better than we were, and it's natural that every kid will do this. I remember people are always saying, oh, you see my kid, they're so smart nowadays. You see them going like this when they're 6 months old, and say, why are they? Because you gave them an iPad, stupid. You gave them, he learned how to do this, that's all. Now, and people used to say this about height as well. They said, the kids, look at how they're all taller than I. And I did a calculation once that from the year 1000 to now, if it were true that they grew a centimeter more, they will all be 3 meters 12. Nobody's 3 meters 12. Actually, we're only 2 centimeters taller, look this up sometime, than we were in the year 1000. It's the Middle Ages where we didn't have food. From 1000 to 1000, we're 2 centimeters tall. So hang on, there's not that much happening. Things are not at the speed we are. It's just that this speed of change is frightening us, and we're frightening ourselves and everybody else with it. But it's the human aspect of what do I want to do, what do I want to do with my day, why the hell am I spending 2 hours in traffic? These are the real questions you have to answer yourself before you end up with a heart attack and rethinking the whole world, or someone there in the hospital at 92 saying, boy, I wish I had spent more time at the office. It doesn't happen. So what I want to leave you with in the end is just this idea that this world is changing for better. The options are better of what's out there. But that you have to ask yourselves 3 why in a row of how can I do this? Which other way can I do this? Because hopefully at the end of this, there's something that's a heck of a lot more fulfilling for all of you. And that's what I wish for you. Thank you very much.